Last 4 or 5 hours. I've had it.
Once I learned this, you always
Do nothing.
plates on it. So white Ford Mustang, Missouri, Paul George 5. Hello. Deputy Rotherham Sheriff's Office. I stopped you because your plates checked to a Chevy.
Yeah, I took them off. My other car. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got it out of Buddy's Automotive. I just had to drive. I drove up here. I just left Green County, the jail because my fiance's in there. She turned herself in yesterday. She needs medical attention, and I can't. She don't want to give her medical attention. I called 911. I just got off the phone with Marshall.
You have a
Do nothing.
Once I learned this about my liver, I changed my. Doug Ford says it would be a last resort, but Ontario is prepared to turn off the power it supplies to 1.5 million American homes. That's if Donald Trump follows through on 25% tariffs on Canadian goods going into the States. The feds have come up with a plan to add more resources and technology at the border, trying to limit the movement of migrants and drugs. But Ford says Canada needs to show the US it has tools in its tool belt ready to reach for.
If they put on tariffs, it's going to be unaffordable.
When things get intense during the mixed doubles bronze medal match.
Try that again. There you go. Okay. So an item I want to add to this agenda, since there are some folks here and I'm not sure if your priorities are reflected on here. So if there's anyone here that wants to have a public comment on an issue not related to fire districts, you can go right before item number 4 on the agenda. Is that clear? He said somebody else has a town issue and they just wanted to bring it to our attention. First thing on this agenda is the abstract approval. I move the abstract approval.
Second.
Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
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 Yes. Next on the agenda, we have a resolution to approve the town 2025 water rates for several of the districts and the town. These are things that are fairly routine for us, but we have to approve them one by one. So I'd like to move the resolution for water rate and the SW8.
I'll second.
Councilperson Vargas Linda.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And then a resolution to amend the town 2025 Yellow Barn water rate, SW7.
I'll second.
Councilperson Vargas Linda.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And then a resolution to amend the town 2025 sewer rate and SS8.
I'll second.
Councilperson Vargas Linda.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And lastly, a resolution to approve the 2025 pay rates.
I'll second.
Councilperson Vargas Linda.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Oh, that was quick. All right, so next on the agenda, we have an opportunity for anyone from the public that would like to comment on a matter that's not related to fire districts. I see a lot of, or anything else, anything else on the agenda, rather than wait till the end of the meeting. Is there anyone here that had another issue they wanted to bring to our attention? Okay, very well then. So I'm going to open the public hearing on the town fire contracts. And we have a list of speakers. If you haven't added your name to it, please take a moment. Or we can start another sheet. Yeah. And you can add your names then. We are going to, since there are a lot of us here, we're going to try and keep this to a 3-minute comment section. And the board will respond at the end. If any of the board members feel like they want to respond, but we're not going to do a back and forth with board members right now. So that would make for a very long evening. So I'm just going to work off this list, and the first name on the list is Paul. Sorry about the my deciphering Pagliara. Okay, Brookdale Road. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that I'm a resident of I live at 13 Brookdale Road with my wife Nancy, and I've been a resident there for about 50 years. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to do with town other than licensing my dogs and paying the school taxes here, the property taxes here. My school taxes go to Ithaca. I have Ithaca mailing address. The Caroline Highway Department plows our roads. Tompkins County Highway Department maintains Brookdale Road, so I have no benefit from the county or from the town other than the fire protection that I get that we used to have in Brookdale. Now, as I understand it, that's going to change. And as a retired deputy sheriff, and I've been a volunteer fireman myself since 1966. I used to bunk at the central fire stations. With engine company number 4, Eureka Fire Patrol, and then I was a member of number 9s. And then there was a gap where I wasn't active, and I was active with Brookdale Fire Department as a fire police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm just a social member there. I'm captain of the fire police at Slaterville Fire Department. And I mentioned that I'm not speaking on behalf of any department. I'm just here as my own person. Concerned about this change in losing the contract from Brookdale to go to Varna. Now, I've been calls with them, they're a great fire department, I've got the highest respect for them. And because we do mutual aid a lot of times with each other. But I'm just concerned that it's like takes 5.5 miles to get from the Varna Fire Station to my house. Now, if any of you ever been up Quarry Road, that's a steep hill for anything to go, especially a fire truck. Then you have to go down Junior Hill Road, the rest, and then you go down a real steep hill, Junior Hill Road. And I do that in my pickup trucks in the lowest gear possible. Now, when years coming along, those are secondary roads. And I'm very concerned that the response time is going to be different and it's going to be more hazardous for engines to travel over those distances. Whereas Brookendale is pretty much a straight shot. It's about, I think, 4 miles. 2.5 miles, I'm sorry, 2.5 miles from my house. Now, if there's a question, as I understand it, people are saying that there's going to be a better response coming from Varna over the hills, which I have a hard time believing. But if Brookendale still had the contract, then mutual aid could come from Varna to come over and help us if there was somebody who wasn't available. I'm sure there's times where Varna doesn't have any drivers and they've got a lot of students, which is to their benefit. And we used to bunker number 9, we had a lot of students there, a lot of bunkers, they're very good people, dedicated. But what happens when they're off or they're in class or their summertime comes along? Is anybody going to be at the station at that time? Because that's one of the big weighing things that you're saying. Well, our response time is going to be a lot better because we have these bunkers standing right by. And as far as I understand, they can't drive trucks. So it's got to be some sort of other volunteer driver that's got to get on one of those engines, 1 or 2 of the engines, whatever's going to respond. I'm just concerned that we're not going to get the protection. Also, I don't understand, somebody was saying that the ambulance service will have to come from Dryden instead of Ithaca, from Bangs. I don't know how true that is, because if that's the case, that's completely out of the park. So that's where I stand, and I just hope that some people are trying to make this a political thing. I don't think it is. I think the board was trying to probably do something on their best intentions, but a lot of times good intentions lead to some sort of trouble down the road. And I'm very concerned about that. So thank you very much.
Is there anyone else here that wants to speak about the Brookendale case? 2 more people. So why don't we do the Brookendale? And since this is kind of its own issue, we might have a bit of a discussion here about that. So go ahead. What's your name?
Nancy.
I just had a few things to add to that. My thing, I think, is the fact that taking it from Brookendale, as my husband mentioned, none of the departments except maybe Varna, and I'm questioning even whether or not they have enough people, really. Not the way it used to be with fire departments. We're all hurting for volunteers. When you see something in front of Cuga Heights asking for volunteers and Ithaca looking for people and advertising, the industry no longer has the people that it needs. It's same thing with banks. The young people aren't going into the services the way that when we were growing up, they did. So I don't like the way that it was taken away from Brookendale, speaking not as a member of the fire department, but as a resident, without more, I think, public input from the community that before the change was made. And I think that since we all do mutual aid for each other, if anything happens, we're there anyway. If there's a fire, you got 6, 8 departments there from all over. When they had the fire in Ithaca, you had people coming over from Cortland to help them fight the fire when they had the grass fire, because there weren't enough people. So I think there wasn't enough thought given to what needed to be done and how it should have been done. Is my viewpoint.
Sir?
So good evening, my name's Vince Monticello, and I've been a town of Dryden resident for the past 37 years at my current address. And during that time, the Brookendale Fire Department has been in my fire district. You know, I found Brookendale to be very responsive in my neighborhood. This includes, but it's not limited to, times when we've had to call them for my in-laws when they were alive. Next door, whether it's for EMS or, fire-related calls. And then about 6 weeks ago, I heard through a grapevine that Brookendale Fire Department was no longer going to be in my fire district come January 1st. And I found that hard to believe, considering I didn't see anything about it or publicly. I currently reside 2.2 miles from Brookendale Station and 4.2 miles from Varna. And along with, as previously stated from other folks, with Varna being twice the distance, they also have to navigate several steep hills as well as twice the distance to respond to my neighborhood. I do have the utmost respect for both departments. As a retired first responder myself, I've gotten to know members from both departments and I've witnessed them in action firsthand. They have dedicated volunteer members. What I do find concerning is that there was no public discussion regarding this major change. And so when I did a news search on the matter, the only thing I could find was a headline from late October in the Portland Standard regarding a change to the town of Dryden when it came to the fire departments. As I don't subscribe to the Portland Standard, I was not able to pull up that article. However, today I did a cursory search of the town of Dryden minutes and found some reference to the Brookendale contract being discussed in some previous meeting, but nothing else I could locate was noted. So, during my 42-year career in law enforcement, including 8 years as a deputy police chief, I believe transparency is a must. So with that being said, I do have some questions, regarding this change that's due to take place. And, one was there any public notification to the residents that this was going to be a change? Obviously I couldn't find anything in the news. Since then, I did learn something, and I did subscribe to the Town of Dryden newsletter, but taught me a lesson that maybe I need to pay more attention to what's going on in the town. But I could not find anything in the media other than what was mentioned in the Portland Standard. And then, what data was used to come to this decision that this was best course of action to take. And, finally, with this being a major change, can this be done without some type of public hearing to discuss this further? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we regret that you feel like this was done in any way that was, not non-transparent. This is not our intention, and we feel like we discussed this in public, and it's not a secret how we do these things and come to these decisions. So I just want to be clear on that up front. We did this after looking at data and talking to the provider, both providers, and having our fire coordinator, Chris O'Connor, go to the Brookendale Fire Department and discuss this with them, and then also have a dialogue with Mason Yeager, who's here, about their capabilities to meet the demands of this very small portion of the town. And it's my understanding that in the past year, there were about 30 calls to that part of the town. And 30 calls and for $30,000 seemed like something that we can look at another way to manage more efficiently by putting a little more resources into Varna and having Varna make that commitment. Varna Fire Department. If you look at the fire districts and the way that we've divided up the town, you'll see that the distance from, say, Neptune Fire Company to the furthest reaches of their zones that they cover is greater than the distance that you're referring to, your distance from the Varna Fire Department. And so I just want to be clear about that, and because the Varna Fire Department is a very capable department with a lot of volunteer staff. Those students aren't going anywhere. A lot of them stay over the summer, and every year a new batch comes and they recruit more. So I think it's a very, very robust volunteer fire department that should give you some confidence in that regard. Regarding Dryden Ambulance, I mean, that's part of their service area. That's part of their CON, their certificate of need, maintained by the New York State Department of Health. So Dryden Ambulance is fully capable of getting down there to provide emergency services should you need an ambulance. should you need light rescue, there's light rescue now situated in Brooktondale or in Caroline. That's part of the new county light rescue system to get a EMS responder to a scene in 8 minutes or less. That's the goal with that program, and that program's not going anywhere. That's a new program you might not know about, but okay, great. So I've started just this year, and they've already responded to over 700 calls this year. The new rapid medical response program that I think I saw Mike Lane, he's here. He was helpful in standing up that program. So we have a new program that provide rapid medical response that could come to your need should you have it for immediate healthcare needs. And the goal of that program is to stand up some service until an ambulance can arrive, which is a great thing for many parts of this county. So I feel like your EMS needs are met and your and in addition to the light rescue that Varna maintains. But I want to see if my colleagues here have anything you want to add, or if Mason, if there's anything you would feel comfortable sharing regarding what you see as your ability to meet the needs of this part of the town.
Can I just say, I saw Paul's message on Nexstar earlier and I responded to it. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but I explained a lot of the questions that you did pose. So one of the unique things about Varna is they have a shift system and they have bunkers. So they have people on duty a lot of the time. So when a call comes in, they're already at the station. So it doesn't take them 3 to 5 minutes to drive from wherever they are to get to the station. So they're able to shave 3 to 5 minutes off that initial response to get to the calls. So the data that we looked at, we actually pulled a bunch of streets and we ran the distance from the Brooktondale station to that address in Varna. And if they weren't equal, there was that difference of like 3 to 5 minutes that Varna could easily make up. And there's like 80 members. I don't know if you guys know that, but they have like 80 volunteers right now. Half of them, I believe, are EMTs. So the medical treatment that they'll get is actually superior than what they would get from somebody who isn't an EMT. So it's actually, with the decision we made was for the benefit of the community. Anything else?
He's
I-
ready to pop up.
Yeah.
so Go for it.
Well, no, I was gonna, so just for the folks out there, I'm Mason Jager, I'm the chief of the Varna Volunteer Fire Company. I can appreciate everybody's concerns. I mean, certainly, thinking about the hill that's between us, and that kind of stretch along 79, something that occurs to us as well. We're pretty good at navigating that a little bit already for our mutual aid calls for Brooktondale, Speedsville, and Slaterville. We have our kind of workarounds. In terms of the response for fire, I don't think it will change necessarily significantly, because as was mentioned, many of our departments rely on mutual aid. And so currently, if there was a fire at that location, I believe Brooktondale has us as automatic mutual aid. One of the challenges there is that it is typically for just our tanker, which is one driver, one operator. And that's usually kind of a limited response for many of these structure fires. Whereas we can have a full engine and multiple crews ready to go if we are the primary district responding. But the idea would be that we would still have the Brooktondale Fire Department on our mutual aid as they have us on theirs. So that in theory, if they get there faster, there will still be a response from Brooktondale. So I don't think that there will be a decrease in fire response. I think it'll be significantly enhanced. And as was alluded to, I mean, we have a significant number of EMTs, many of whom are at the station at any given time. So it's not unusual, especially during the semester, that we'll have a light rescue unit out of the door in 30 seconds after receiving a phone call, which is faster than even some of the other professional agencies around here. This will only be supplemented by the county EMS, I believe, but we'll have to figure out how that goes. So, we're used to taking on a little bit of extra work. We're doing that already. We're covering EMS in some of our adjoining districts, and that's been going very well. We've had 100% call rate in those areas as well. And one more point about the hills is that we already have some of those in our district, especially at Mount Pleasant. So we're pretty used to having to drive almost up vertically from 2 different directions. So.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
was told that the county EMS was not going to be allowed to respond to calls in the town of Dryden over there. Is that incorrect?
No, that's incorrect. They just don't. We don't need them because we have such strong light rescue here. What's called EMS is rapid medical response. they've responded, I looked at the numbers just earlier this week, they've responded to less than 10 calls. I think it's about 6 since the year started, so. We don't depend on the RMR in this town because we have,
But if they were needed, if there was, say, a bad car accident.
Oh, they would.
They would be able to respond.
they would and they have, yeah. So they would get, and they'd particularly respond if there was something, say, on Snyder Hill Road or Bessemer Road, Bessemer Road, and they were nearby in Burkendale.
And one last, I'm sorry, go ahead. One last thing, we're not perfect. Certainly things can change. It could be you have a call at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but this year we've made 100% of our calls for fire and EMS.
And many of them are drivers.
Yeah, and so just a point of correction there. So it's a requirement for our bunkers to be drivers of apparatus to bunk in the bunkhouse. And about half of our bunkers right now are certified for the entire fleet, including the engine. So, which is partly why we like having them there so that they can hop in the engine and be out the door in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So that's a constantly evolving situation.
And the one thing I was gonna say is, because Dan talked about there's about 30 calls to the town. It's not like you guys don't go there now. So you are familiar with the routes and it's not new territory that you're not familiar with.
Yeah, for fire, certainly. For EMS, we don't go in that area very much, but we do respond to areas on Snyder Hill and just off of Snyder Hill. So we're used to, we just have to go down the hill and then it's, that's really the only difference.
So we thought this through. I know it came to a surprise to you, but I want you to know that we did our homework on this and we understand that we have a responsibility to provide fire service to the entire town and we're keeping that. But it is a change and as you can see, we have a fully capable department here and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer any more questions that come up. But thanks for coming and sharing this. All right, if there's no one else to speak about Brookendale, we can move on with the other sign-ins that are here. My colleague Jason is now here. Jason Leiber, welcome. I'm doing the people's work in another place. But Michelle Robinson, why don't you come up and if you're ready? Are you ready? Yeah. Yeah, take your time.
Hi. We would like to address the board regarding some of the meeting notes from the November 21st meeting. We do not agree with the proposed contract changes. We are willing to adjust our capital reserves to a reasonable amount. But the town will be putting the Aetna in the same boat as Freeville due to not allowing us to save properly to fund future truck purchases. We also do not appreciate that anytime a fire department attends a board meeting, the town fire coordinator never has anything to say. He has continued to give the town board false reports regarding Aetna. It seems evident from the beginning that the town fire coordinator has made a constructive effort to drive out the Aetna Volunteer Fire Department. The most recent example is from an article in the Tompkins Independent newspaper dated November 27th of 2024, pointing out where a specific member of our department lives and that Aetna has not responded to 80% of our calls.
Which is totally false.
The article further states that O'Connor is confused as to why Aetna needs $90,000 to operate for the next 6 months, according to him, since Aetna has hundreds of thousands of dollars saved. The article also states saying that Aetna department is dysfunctional, that O'Connor has said that the Aetna department is dysfunctional and non-functional. I would like to remind the town board that an employee's false statements and accusations are representation and reflection of the town. We would like to point out to the board that Chris O'Connor has not visited, spoken to, or met with anyone from the Aetna Fire Department in over a year. Our department has never had an 80% no response rate. We have made significant improvements over the last year. We know we're not perfect, but our overall percentage of missed calls is 17% from
January 1st of 2024 to November 30th of 2024. The town fire coordinator states he's acting in the best interest for everyone in the town. However, either not contracting or cutting our contract will affect the town with the loss of almost 6,000 gallons of water, as well as affect the ISO public protection class rating. ISO assigns a public protection class for each community. The rating class goes from 1 to 10, 1 representing exemplary fire protection, and 10 representing less than minimum recognized for protection. This is designated by everyone's insurance company, and it is generated by everyone's specific address. If you have a higher protection class rate, then your premiums are much better.
It's 3 minutes if you could wrap it up. So at least you're gonna share time and then you get 6 if the two of you.
No, we just respectfully request the town to provide us with our original budget amount submitted at $248,500, which was a 3.1% increase from our prior contract.
Which was well within the parameters that we were given. And, obviously the board can decide what to do, whether to contract with us or not. But we are a volunteer agency and we do the very best we can for our community.
And we do have a copy of the newspaper article if you would like to see it.
Thank you.
Michelle. Can you email me your statement?
You can have.
Can you email it to me? Can you email it to me?
Mike Parker.
Well, my name is Mike Parker. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm the chief of the Freeville Fire Department. There's not a whole lot more that can be said than what I've said over the last few months that we've been talking about this with our budget. We're looking to get the budget that we need to maintain our capital reserves, to replace, replenish, buy equipment, members' equipment, gear, things like that, and to run our operations. As stated in the past, we've been asking for very little for so many years that now we're in a deficit and need to catch up to maintain those capital reserves. If we can get our budget to where it needs to be, then hopefully the New York class will maintain that and we won't need to be asking for the percentage that we're asking this year. Again, we need to be caught up to where we are. Our numbers, we just this last month that we sent you our chief's report, we ran 31 more calls this month, and we've had an average of over 7 people per call and route times of 3 minutes and 37 seconds. So we're maintaining, and we've also made, as well as Varna, 100% of our calls. So we're doing it, and we're asking for our budget to be fulfilled for the original amount. That's all I have right now.
You got another minute, so.
I don't need a minute. I mean, we've talked this, and you know what our points are, and we're here for our budget.
Okay, thank you.
And we need it to maintain. And hopefully with the New York class, it's going to solve some more of our issues. Thank you.
All right, next on the list is looks like Sue Marie Sheridan.
No, it's Amber, Jim.
Anne Marie. Oh, my mistake. And
Thanks for the opportunity to speak and thanks for the turnout. Regardless of what we say up here, I think we've always been respectful on scenes to each other. And I think that point is still lost sometimes at the board. Mutual aid is the foundation of volunteer fire departments, which is the backbone of New York State emergency services, as we know from downstate fires and the fires in Lansing. I am surprised that people seem to forget that. I'm surprised that in the last meetings, Michelle didn't indicate this, but it stuck with me that one of the members of the board said Edna wasn't active. I'd like a qualification on that. We've responded to calls in our fire district, had 9 to 10 on your call in Lansing. committed. Yes, we're a small department, we still manage that. We had crews committed to downstate fires. We've increased membership drives as well as membership trainings, including to prepare medical staff. Because we realize that's something we do need to work on. We've been responsive to suggestions of the board. We've moved money from lower interest bearing accounts to higher interest bearing accounts in your suggestion. We've participated actively in strategic planning activities. Submitted a good strategic plan, I thought was the feedback. Last December, I remember hearing the coordinator in the meeting, and it's been noted in the minutes from 2023 in December, applauding Friedel for considering a bunker program. We actually started acting on that. And I don't think these things ever make it to the board. All we read is negative comments about ourselves in the newspaper that surprise us. Makes me wonder what the residents of our district are thinking about us. But we investigated a bunker program to the point of scoping out floor plans. And then see all of this in the minutes about potentially redistricting. That's probably mine. Okay. Redistricting us, so that kind of puts a stop on that. So our innovative leadership, and I credit them a lot with this, secured a 6-month contract for an apartment near our program. We're doing this to respond to the needs because we are responding to the needs. Yet none of this is reflected in what we see publicly or coming through the fire coordinator. Paying attention to how business has been reported, both at the board level or via the board, and specifically with the fire districts over the last couple of years, I am concerned at a pattern in decision-making that makes me wonder what we're not seeing. And it really worries me. I would like to just put on record that I would call the board to participate in oversight activities such as a conflict disclosure process. If you have, please let us know that you've done this. If you've not, I would behoove you to follow the practice of other boards and legislative bodies where you are having a third party review of potential or actual financial conflicts of interest and external board memberships. We've got a lot of contracts and money moving, and I think that keeps us honest. I think that's a normal thing to ask. So again, if you've done that, please do let us know in your spoken period of response. Part of these decisions are in response to what I see reflected in the minutes, and something that happened last December, and it still bothers me. There were incorrect statements made by Coordinator O'Connor that I requested on the record. If the meetings are recorded, you'll see this, to correct. And Supervisor Leifer told me I was not allowed to, and I had to address it after session privately with Coordinator O'Connor. This pattern of behavior, this pattern of decision-making, these aspersions and allegations towards Aetna from paid officials of the town, they're inappropriate. We have a chance to respond on the record, talk on the record, and hopefully people are recording this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Rebecca Moore.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Moore. I'm the treasurer for Fraperville Fire Department. I'd just like to follow up on our chief statements and just again appeal to the board. We've had lots of different meetings, and obviously there's going to be lots of different conflicting opinions on the way that the data has been interpreted. But we believe that through the meetings that we've had, through the discussions that have gone on a long time, that we've made a good case to show that we have fulfilled our contract and gone above and beyond that contract. We understand that everybody is feeling the pinch of inflation, that there are a lot of dynamics being forced on all of us, that we're all having to consider and make wise decisions. But we, from both as a member of the board and as an active volunteer and EMS, we believe that we've made a very strong case. And so we would again just like to appeal to the board based on the data that we've presented, the meetings that we've had, and the the numbers that we've put forth, that our original budget be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have more people sign in? Or sign up? If you haven't and wish to speak, please take a moment and sign the sheet up there.
We all done with that?
Yeah. Okay. I'm short list, Mike Hall.
You are up.
Well, town board, thank you. I appreciate it. Most of you know me, I'm Mike Hall. I also work for the town, but I want to put it right up front that I'm not here as a representative of an employee of the town. Okay. I'm a past chief of the Dryden Fire Department. I was a member there for 26 years, still a member, but kind of in retirement and enjoying my time off. However, I am quite, I guess for lack of a better term, disgusted with the current back and forth amongst the fire departments in the town of Dryden. I know that there's always been some contention amongst departments. It's always been who's got the bigger, better stuff, who's got more people, and so on and so forth. But I feel from what I've seen and what I've heard and the people that I still speak to in the fire service in this town, that it's become more of, it's my area and now I want to expand. And I believe everybody's lost the true goal of what the fire service in this town should be, and that's providing a service to the community. Listening to Zoom on the way here, and while I was here, I hear a lot of, I want money, I want money, I want money. But I don't hear a lot of discussion on how we're going to improve moving forward. I don't hear a lot of discussion on how we are going to improve bringing in more members and train new members. Varna's done an excellent job over the last couple of years. Several years ago, they were in the boat of everybody needed to come help, which every department in this town has been that way over the years. And at this current time, every department is still that way. Nobody can do it by themselves. I feel as if the town needs to take a stance, put their foot down and say that these departments need to work together. They need to stop pointing the finger at each other. They need to stop saying we're doing the work and they're not. And that they need to work together on one service for the town of Dryden. You go north of here, there's a Onondaga County does a service where the departments work together. They staff one truck. They rotate departments throughout the communities and throughout the county to cover calls during the day when departments are struggling. Every department struggles during the day. Every volunteer organization struggles. It's just the nature of the beast. There's no planning in that taking place. It's sad to see that neighboring departments are at each other's throats rather than work together. As a fire chief for Dryden for 6 years, I sat in every meeting known to man with each one of these departments. I had several meetings with the supervisor, Dan, a lot of you guys in regards to how do we improve this community service. And from what I've seen, now being on the outside, I've seen that it's gone nothing but backwards. It's unfortunate that I read an article in the newspaper that there's a push to close a department in this town. And I feel that everybody up there as an elected official knows that when it comes time to go to the polls, you don't want that on your resume of we closed a volunteer fire department in this town that is still very strong and tight knit and they're part of the community. I think that would be a terrible decision rather than provide assistance to them to improve. And I don't see that that is happening. I would implore each department that's here tonight, and I see each one of the chiefs here. Mason, Mike, Tommy, and Mark, you guys need to work together. I know every one of us have butted heads. Every one of us, well, not you, Mason, but Mike, you and I have butt heads. Tommy, you and I, Mark, you and I. But at the end of the day, the job is to provide a service to our community and not beat each other's throats doing it. Then it needs to stop. It really needs to stop.
Okay, we're at 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Are there other members here of the public that want to speak that didn't sign up? You want to jump back in? Yeah, we've done the public hearing. Now we're ready to move the.
Was there anyone else?
Oh, yeah, maybe it's.
Yeah, excuse me, on Zoom, is there anyone attending on Zoom that wanted to make a comment at our meeting here tonight? Nothing coming in off the Zoom.
Well, you can watch it, you open this one, I'm sponsoring this. Because I'm just trying to get my stuff out. My files out.
All right, so next up, then we are actually going to consider each of the fire department contracts.
Yeah.
Well, we're closing the public hearing. And moving on to the approval of the contracts.
Okay, so we.
Where, a little more info would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm looking for where the amounts were. Should have been a public notice. Sir.
We're going to consider each department's amount and vote on.
Oh, wait a minute. That's right. Yeah, so these were the amounts.
So these aren't in order, so. So I'll go in this order. So I'm presenting the numbers, but not a motion. Is that correct?
Well, each one we would, since we're doing them individually, whichever one you would bring up first, just remove their contract and then the amount. So those were published, that's from the minutes from last November, or the 21st. Yeah.
Okay. So first up on this list is a move for Varna in the amount of 440,000.
Second.
And Jason will second that. Any discussion on the amount for Varna?
Yes.
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 And next up is for the Dryden Fire Department in the amount of 595,503. And I'll move that.
I'll second.
Yes.
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 Next up is the WB Strong Freeville Fire Department at $397,448.
Second. I think we have seconded it.
Second.
Wait a sec.
Yes.
This is Freeville.
Yes.
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 And then lastly, we have the Etna Fire Department at $173,500. Anyone want to move that?
Yeah, I'll move it.
Jason moves it.
Is there a second?
Not hearing a second.
No. Okay.
Okay. That's the end of that.
No, that's the end of that. There's not a second, so. And then we'll have to figure. I don't know, now we got other work. Well. Yeah, I mean, we'll have other work to do. I mean, we have to figure out what to do with that. I mean, we have to decide it tonight, but. There's that amount that we've put in. And. What we're gonna do with that. As far
Yes,
as, I mean, it's still, I mean, for the moment, it will reside in the. Fire district. Reserve. And like I said, like last month, what I proposed. As far as the contract thing goes, so yeah, so anyway, we'll have to figure out how to. We have a couple of different issues to address then, which will be that, unless there's some more negotiation back and forth. In the next week or so. If the other. We'd have to deal with the coverage issues for that territory as well as. How to, compensation and things. So. That's where
Yeah.
we're at, but that's not something we're gonna be able to do right now in front end, right now.
No, we have coverage and coverage will be maintained through the end of this year and we'll maintain our service as it currently is right now. So we've got
All right.
no residents going to go unserved by fire protection in this town.
Right.
But just to be clear, you're not gonna contract with the fire department come the 1st of January at all.
Right now, that's what's happening, yeah. So if you wanna talk, we should talk more and see if we can come up with something, but. Right now, that I moved it and the board didn't, there's not a second to act on it, so right now, yeah, it's not contracting with Aetna at the moment. Okay,
Even though it was put in the town budget and adopted.
no, we passed a fire district. An amount in total for the fire district, we did not put the contracts in
It is.
the preliminary.
So you have an adopted budget that says.
We have an adopted budget that has a total for the fire protection district, and then we separated out the amount for the contracts. We did that on purpose because we had no idea. In the end, that's how we adjusted things on November 21st.
You should relook at what you posted because it's itemized. It is. You really should,
I know I know, we did that in the tentative budget, but what was passed. What was passed is the total amount for the fire protection district, which includes the amounts right there. Yeah, they're broken out, but again, the contracts have to get approved and the amounts are different than the contract and. So we still have, like I said, if you want to talk. And come. Now let's talk, but. Like what anyhow. All right, so we might as well move on from that. So where did you start off at? In the meeting? Like where are where are we up to?
Where,
Rick's up
the highway
next.
department.
Okay. So, yes, Rick, you're up.
You guys should have a resolution.
Yep.
Yep.
We purchase 3 vehicles, 1 going to the codes, 1 going to the highway, and 1 cargo van for the recreation department. The total for the vehicles is roughly $185,000. We have $175,000 grant. I was with the difference from the 175 to 185, it's around $9,246. I was gonna take that out of the after the grant pays for what it does, we'll take it out of my A 1490.2. Cover the rest of the vehicle, so. You're literally getting $180,000 worth of vehicles for 10 grand. And that was part of the NYSERDA grant, and that's, we looked at other possibilities for that money. And Alice and all them, this is the project they adopted.
It's amazing.
Okay, so. That would be this right there.
Yes.
Yep, right. Okay, so I'll move that.
Second. Yes.
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 Yes. None.
That's easy. That's all I got. Unless you guys have any questions.
I just look for one other thing, sorry. Yeah, there was. No, I didn't have it. I just wanted to make sure I had the right one on.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Young,
thanks.
thank you to you and all that your staff are doing out there, especially with these roads conditions over the coming months. Thank you.
And Jason, I believe there's a resolution relative to the agreement.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Oh,
Yeah, that's not,
yeah. Yeah, it was an email from Alice.
Yeah, is it on
It's in,
here?
Alice may have emailed it.
Today.
Okay, so I'm just gonna, this is the resolution from the Climate Smart Community. And this is to authorize the town to spend $175,000 from. Yeah. So this resolution is to authorize the town to spend $175,000 in the grant from the Minnesota. Yeah, this is on. I mean, they don't have the.
You might want to ask people to take the conversation.
we're gonna have a really hard time hearing him, so he could.
Yeah. Yeah. Can. Who, yeah, can we? Thanks. All right.
Is there something, I think you just dropped your wallet.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Dan. So I don't usually attend town board meetings. The town hall is at the furthest east side of the furthest east village in the town, so it's not centrally located. But I'm wondering if it's the typical procedure for the town board to conduct its business in whispers during public meetings. I think that it's very hard to hear what's being discussed. And it seems that it's a public meeting and therefore the public that is present should be able to hear what the town board is discussing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. No one's.
Nobody can hear you. We're all talking over you because nobody can hear you back here.
Then I'll turn the sound up. You could just say you can't hear us because I'm not back there. I can't hear back there. Sorry.
Would you like us to start the meeting over and just talk louder? Cause I got nothing else to do.
Is this better?
Much better.
Okay.
All right, so the resolution that's up is for the NYSERDA grant for $175,000 offered. So we're gonna use towards the purchase of electric vehicles for the town. So that's up on the screen. I'll move that.
Second.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I guess I'll move back to fire coordinator. So Chris, do you have anything for the report?
Still working on the strategic plan, that's under installment today, I believe. You'll get it all soon.
Okay, so you're gonna talk about it next week at all, at next week's meeting?
I can, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would probably be good.
Okay.
All right. All right, Mike, Lane, you wanted to?
Thank you. I'll be short. Just two things I wanted to mention to you tonight. One is a continuation of the issue of the homeless population, particularly in the city of Ithaca. And we did announce last week that the county is about to purchase a piece of land. It has two buildings on it, on Cherry Street in the city of Ithaca. And we're spending about 1.2 million on that. The intention is to build a temporary housing assistance shelter there. We are pressing New York State for funding for that through our Department of Social Services. It's not something you're going to have tomorrow, but it's probably going to be 1 to 2 years before that can be ready. Meanwhile, because the county has lost the contract, which we had originally had with St. John's to provide shelter, we've had to hire people, train them, and provide shelters in other locations, including the temporary Code Blue shelter, the old Key Bank building on Tioga Street, which we hope will only be temporary for this cold season. Other folks that are being housed in motels, basically. You can't just house everybody together. There are all kinds of people with different kinds of problems and issues, and they have to be sorted and they have to follow rules. Some of them don't want to follow the rules for the shelters. So it's not an easy task, but the county's committed to trying to do our very best for the people in the neighborhoods down there and for the people who need these services, particularly whether it's mental health, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's homelessness from other reasons that could be family disputes, anything like that. So I wanted to mention that to you. The other thing I would mention with respect to the proposed center of government building, which would be on Tioga Street, we are very close to announcing a contract with the architects and engineers who we've narrowed down. We're going to have a couple of special meetings here very, very soon, and we expect that project will be moving along. We we expect in 2025 to spend about $5 million for schematic design, soil testing, all of the other things that go with getting ready to build a very large county office building. Many of our departments are just bursting at the seams, needing better office space. We've added people, but we haven't added enough space to be able to house all of them. So stay tuned, and we will be announcing hopefully a contract with the architects very soon. That's what I have tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right, so next up, we got a resolution to approve purchase of materials for Dryden Fiber.
So nobody wants to talk about.
All right, so this is for the resolutions for 53,487. These are drop cables and things that are being used for the build out.
Second.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. All right, second is the resolution to approve the appointment of David Maker as the executive director of telecommunications for Dryden Fiber.
So it's clear that this was a conversation during budget time about he's not in the budget because of the status he's in funds that are not included in the public budget. And so we need to appoint him because we now have a civil service description that is approved. One key I do need from this resolution is his pay rate. Because that has to be in the resolution. So.
Has to be in the resolution.
Yes,
Yeah.
all beginning have to be in the resolution, so.
Where?
That's one piece of information I do need the board to make a determination on tonight.
Okay.
Well, we had talked about a combination of Dryden funds and Caroline funds
Yes.
making up his salary.
Yes.
Right.
And the exact number slips my mind at this moment.
6%.
No.
No.
6% of $9 million. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it was, we put in 75
Do you need
and
Town, I
his
think.
total or just what
70.
the
Yeah.
town pays?
So I need his total salary that the
Thank
town
you.
will pay. Obviously, there's gonna be funding from Caroline, funding from the grants. There's fundings from various points to
Yeah.
fund the salary.
Okay,
It's the actual salary.
not the amount that town
And then
pays out, just the total amount.
Right.
It's his salary, because the town will be paying him as payroll, because he will be an
Right,
employee
okay.
starting January 1st, so I just need
Understood.
his payroll salary.
what's the 6% number that you're?
6% raise like the court clerks got.
Oh,
Well, everybody was 3.5 was cost of living, and then it depended on, obviously reviews, which he didn't have because he wasn't an employee, so.
Right.
But you've all seen him on the board, at the meetings, the second meeting of the month and his reports, so you know kind of the
Yeah.
work he's doing. And much, much more.
well, I mean, if there is any question about why we need to invest in David, I'll just address it right now. It's a $25 million project and he's somebody who could be doing this elsewhere for a lot more money than what we're prepared to offer. He's doing this as a public service and he is putting this project in a position to really be successful. I mean, it was in good shape a year ago, but it's in a lot better shape now. And without David Makar, we would not have gotten $9 million from New York State and the federal government. So he's already paid off whatever we're going to pay him multiple times over. So the amount that we've discussed with him, 100,000, plus benefits.
Obviously, yes, benefits will be part of this because he will be eligible for benefits because
And
he will be full-time.
Just to the people who are listening or want to know details, that is contingent. Well, it's not contingent, but it's based on an agreement we've already made with the town of Caroline to subsidize a portion of the salary, at least 25%.
Yeah.
And I would bet significantly that if we had to replace him, we would be paying probably double or more.
And so,
Well-
so the last thing I want to say is, see, we're already paying him 75, so the town's not gonna increase. If we're looking at what the town is actually paying him, it's not gonna change, it's a zero.
Okay.
But the additional funding from Caroline is gonna bump him up because he's doing work in Caroline. He's doing work to benefit the town of Caroline, they're gonna pay him for that, so you could look at him as almost crossing municipal boundaries with the service that he's providing.
So they'll pay us and then we.
Right, that's the arrangement, so they already budgeted actually 40,000. To go towards all of him, his salary plus the other administrative expenses.
Yeah.
That are actually things that wouldn't be covered by the necessarily even the grant. So,
Okay.
So for this resolution, it's being put forward for a salary of $100,000 for 2025, obviously plus benefits. Is that what the board wants to put in this resolution?
yeah,
Because I need it for payroll purposes.
yeah,
I'm just-
Yes.
that's the
budget.
resolution. Yeah.
Works for me.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time.
So, yeah, I'll move that.
So, yeah.
I'll second that.
Yes.
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 Yes, okay. All right, so then next we have we need to approve a tax bill insert. This is about Dryden Fiber notifying people, the purpose is to notify people of what is offered and how to sign up and get questions answered. And it explains the timeline. So it's up on the screen if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've already read through it. I think,
Should it talk about the map? Like if people want to see where their current status
but it
is?
refers to,
Yeah, refers to the
fiber.
green zone and,
Even as somebody who's never heard of Dryden Fiber before.
yeah,
maybe-
well, we could say, see the website that's at the
Yeah.
letterhead.
Yeah,
yeah,
to see where you are on the map.
yeah,
Yeah. That's the only thing, because otherwise it's a great letter.
yeah, because the web address is on the letterhead of it.
I think I already read this, but I missed the fact that it doesn't have a date on it. I know he's saying Happy New Year, but maybe Bambi, don't we typically put a date on things like this? So. Shouldn't it say January
It's
1st?
December 2024 or something.
I don't know what day the bills are going in.
Yeah.
If that matters.
But he could have drafted it any time. I think it just would look better if it had a date on it, and
Is he online?
No,
No, he'll be next.
but we can make a friendly amendment to this, right?
Yeah.
Amend it,
Yeah, we can
adding,
just add the date, like, put it January 1st.
and also a line that we could say, please see the website for a map. And add that to the second to last,
and
Third.
to check your status.
the third to the last paragraph.
Would amendment that be bold?
No. If you start bolding one thing, then you have to start thinking, is that the most important thing in the letter? I teach letter writing.
All right.
You start bolding one
Where would
thing,
you
and,
like the date?
above dear taxpayer centered. Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
We
the
talked about doing it and wanting to forward and. about one paper.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, because it'll
I think it'd look better. in the
stand
light.
out.
Okay,
Our
well, look,
tax bills are going to be clear.
Okay,
here.
all right. Yeah, a motion with those amendments. I'll move that with the amendments
Second,
suggested by Dan.
second,
Yep.
Yes.
yes,
yes.
Yes. All right, so, well, I think these next two things aren't quite ready, but just to make sure everybody's seen the drafts. One of them's the intermunicipal broadband network deployment agreement with Caroline. What's here is the current draft of it. I mean, the intent is to we have to provide this to the state Connect All office. And the intent is that because Dryden is the lead on this grant, it's to clarify how Caroline will pay for its portion of the work. So it's a, because it's a reimbursement grant, they have to also do a ban or a revenue anticipation note. To have the working capital available. And then they'll be reimbursing Dryden. So basically, we're gonna be the ones making the payments, but the funding for everything that's in Caroline is coming from Caroline, where and everything that's in Dryden is coming from Dryden.
Are we voting on this tonight?
No, because it's not done yet,
Okay,
because I
so-
was talking with Nate today about some things, so yeah.
So
And
you just want us all to review?
yeah, I just want to review it, hopefully it'll be ready next week, to vote on, same with the grant disbursement agreement. That's the agreement with the state. And that dictates I guess how we get reimbursed for the work we're doing. It's the real, but make sure you've looked at them, and then when I get the newest drafts of it, I will provide them to everybody. But we're working with the attorneys on these, and the Connect All office meetings we have are on Tuesdays with the folks who are overseeing our grant. Okay. So then so up to 8F. So this is there's two things, but there's two documents. One's the letter that we received from Jay.
So when's the resolution to or for public
So the
hearing?
way that we accomplish the increasing these exemptions. For the one for seniors. Is the board can do by resolution. The other two are done by local law.
Right.
And so I provided the text of those, just copying what we did last time, increasing the amounts. So you can pass this resolution tonight, introduce these local laws and set a hearing. We have time. for this.
Yeah, we have until
If you want
March.
To not deal with it now.
Yeah.
Don't wait till last week.
Right.
But we could do the resolution tonight.
You could do the resolution, you could set a public hearing.
Yeah, so the. The memos are all in here. You emailed the
Yeah, it's in the
resolution.
And so I know it's late, so I didn't interrupt it.
Yeah, well, with the resolution one, we should do while we're thinking about it, and then set this public hearing on those for January. All right, so. Okay, so first up is this the resolution adopting the partial tax exemption for persons over 65 years of age. Sure. Yeah.
But the important part is right there in the first.
Yeah, so the real property tax law 467 permits the town to adopt the resolution. Partially exempting from taxation by the town certain real property within town owned by a person 65 years of age or over. And whereas real property tax law provides an option for the town to set the income eligibility levels. And then the resolve I guess the chart is up on screen, but
And those are the same levels that were set by the.
right. So we're just mirroring the county on this.
What is that? I thought we already passed.
And when I did, like, between all these different exemptions, I did ask Jay Franklin what the impact on the town would be, and it's like 87 cents per taxpayer.
Yeah.
So
On average.
on average,
87
cents.
per thousand? No.
No, like
Total.
yeah. So so if that's the amount on the levy that's made up, I suppose, by other folks.
Okay.
Okay, so anyhow, I'll move this.
I'll see this resolution. Which one is?
It was in an email from Dan.
It's,
Okay,
yeah,
it's
thank
not-
you, no, that's why, yeah, I'm putting it
Okay.
up here. The others, we have to set a public hearing date. So
Okay.
we'll just do that, those
All right,
in January.
this seems pretty innocuous. I already read the email, so I was just looking for this.
Yeah,
Got it.
so I'll move the.
I'll second it.
resolution.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, and then I'm scrolling up there's a proposed local law for exemptions for persons with disabilities. Again, it's tracking the county language, but I also want to set the public hearing for this for January 16th, I guess. Yeah. 16th will be the third Thursday. Yeah. This may as well do it then. So this will be for the exemptions for persons with disabilities. And just set it for 6:05 because I don't believe we have any others scheduled right now. And then for the veterans exemptions, again, tracking what the county is doing. I would want to set the public hearing. I guess put it 6:10. Do it same time, 6:05.
When?
6:05 on January 16th for both of these. We have to do two of these exemptions by local law. We have to hold a public hearing on them. And then the next thing is agreement with Empire Access it's a reciprocal make-ready arrangement agreement. What this means is like, so when you're doing make-ready work on the utility poles, if there's already a provider there, you have to move their cables around. So if they have so basically what it is if we're just agreeing to move, if we're doing the make-ready work and we have to move their fiber, we're not going to charge them for that. And if they're doing make-ready work in Dryden and they're going to have to move ours, they're not going to charge us for that. So that's the gist of it. And if they damage ours, they'll fix it. If we damage theirs, we'll fix theirs. So the whole purpose is just to shorten the time of the work. This was reviewed by Nate. This is his version. He made adjustments and Empire Access agreed with them. Share it. We'll be talking about a similar agreement with Point Broadband, since they also have fiber running in the town. But that one hasn't been run through with the attorneys yet.
Okay.
But it's probably gonna be this language. It's just I don't know if they're gonna send something different.
So David signs this or you?
I'm signing this.
For Dragon Fiber.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to I think at the board meeting. We have to figure, there will be certain things I think we can have David sign on behalf of the town. Without having, but other things I know I'll be required to, especially if they're grant related, because I'm pretty sure the
Sure, a bond related.
Connect All, like anything that's financial. We would have to. Approve, and anything that's something like the access agreements with the like rental properties, we could probably delegate to David without having. Me sign them, but I'll obviously check with Nate about that.
Okay.
Because those, right now I'm signing all those, so whenever they come through, if there's an apartment complex or multifamily, anything, I'm getting those and signing off on them. So. So I move this. Second. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. And then next up, we have 2 dog control officer proposals. I mean, I wanted people to see these. I didn't. And the only thing normally we would do is also do a interview.
Yeah.
So I would like to schedule those. For if we can do them next week. Before, if it's try to do them before the meeting, I could reach out tomorrow to both. And see when they're available. Jason's here.
I'm here.
Yeah, and the other.
If there's any questions about it, find ways to call them.
Where are the proposals?
They,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Are they public? They're public information, though, aren't they? Should we have posted those?
yeah.
Okay.
There was so anyhow, availability. I have to talk with the other person. And I would say Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon would be the times to do it. And then we can discuss and vote on Thursday next week.
Okay, so you're proposing that at least 3 of us meet.
Or two,
Okay,
yeah.
so we wouldn't
So-
vote on this, we'd vote.
We're gonna do it on next Thursday.
So 2 of us would meet
Yes.
and make a recommendation to the rest of the board after interviewing.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm free Tuesday and Thursday anytime and after 2 on Wednesday, if that helps.
okay.
Do after 2:30 or
I think
later.
only 2 of us can do this.
Yeah, so I mean, if 2 of you,
Do you want to do?
if you all want to do them,
the
that's fine with
interviews
me.
And make the recommendation to the rest of us?
If the times work, I've got, so
Okay.
I'm out of town Monday. Tuesday I could do after 2:30. Wednesday, there's no way I can get out before.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're available. Like anytime, you think?
I'm on call 24/7, you guys,
So, okay,
so I can be here within. Or 15 minutes.
all right, so
Okay.
spring, and I guess if you want to do it, just set them up for like 3 o'clock on Tuesday for Jason, and then we'll just check, and then we see the other one will check what time.
Sure.
Yeah, does that work for you?
But
Yeah.
are you going to be there?
No, I mean.
Okay,
if-
for these 2.
Yeah, so, yeah, and just,
Nardo, what you wanted to.
I mean.
You're okay?
Yeah, all right, so you guys will take care of this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Spring and
let us know.
Christine are doing, are gonna,
Just ask the same questions. Yeah, pair responses.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so then, sorry, so Spring, just make sure you talk with, get Jason's, I'll give you his cell phone number and you guys, in case you don't have it.
If you want, just Google Drive, talk to people. Talk with this, so.
Yep,
That's Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
yeah, That's what they, yeah, they said, that's what they said. Okay, and then. All right, so then the only thing, the other things I got are just the public hearing next week, 6:05, 27 Dutcher Road, it's a special use permit. And there's another at 6:10, 18, 14 Hanshaw Road, special use permit. So, I mean,
And then another piece of business I'll bring to you next week is the EPA grant. Putting together an application for that for a solid waste program. This is for a reuse center business to move out here. So I'm trying to get like an executive summary to you tomorrow and then the draft application and a resolution to forward the application next week.
yeah, because that's due soon, isn't it?
Friday. Yep.
Yeah. Well, the application is due, what, the 20th?
September 20th, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, does anybody have anything else? Because I don't.
No.
All right.
I think so. All right.
All right, we can just adjourn until next week.
So we're doing the interview, the location, ring location,
The conference room should be open.
that's
Yeah.
okay?
Well, if it is, we'll find.
Yeah, it should be the conference room.
Um,
Yeah, but you can always use the, like, if I'm not here, you can use the office too.
We have a list of standard.
There.
I would talk with, you could talk with Bambi, yeah, because she knows more about the.
Okay, so we'll do him at 3 and then we're
I
gonna
can-
try to schedule the other one for
Yeah,
3:45.
Yeah. Yeah, except I was like half an hour, and 15 minutes. And that's it.
Is this the gal? Is that the woman that usually shows up at the meeting that